hearing the sound. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everybody, my name is Ahmad Muhammad Fauzi, and together with me is Prof. Dr. Azman Hassan from Faculty Chemical. So I would like to start the session today with Mukitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. So inshallah today I would like to welcome all of you, those who are here in our program on how to select appropriate journals and how to respond to reviewers' comments. So I think this is a very important talk for me as lecturer academician, and also for those who are in the process of learning doing your master's, PhD, and other postgraduate studies. So a little brief introduction regarding our speaker, Prof. Dr. Azman Hassan is from Faculty of Chemical Engineering, and his expertise in polymer nanocomposite and natural fibers polymer composite. Has been working on a few commercialization of ENR, epoxidized natural rubber, which is one of the important area in Malaysia as well. And Prof have been receiving a lot of grants, including the LRJS grant to develop KNAF reinforced biocomposite for automotive applications. And Prof have been publishing a lot in related areas with more than 22 H index and 1,680 citations. Professor Azman has been serving as editor-in-chief and editorial board in certain journals, Malaysian polymer journals. And Prof have been invited as keynote speakers for many conferences and in various countries. So we would like to invite again all of you. So this is a free-sitting session. So we have a few chairs here, and also there, and I think also at the back side there, and also one more here, VIP seat. Yeah. Okay. Without further ado, I would like to invite Prof. Azman Hassan to start the session. And for those who are online, yesterday we have already emailed you. I think not only for online participants, I think for all of you here, we have already emailed you the slides, and you can refer to the slides. So in between, I'll try to switch from the interface here with the slides, inshallah. So I would like to pass the session to Professor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. Thank you for coming to this session to discuss on the journal publication, and especially to select appropriate journals and how to respond to reviewers' comments. I would like to thank the organizing committee, especially Associate Professor Dr. Atif from Faculty of Electrical Engineering. He's very young man and energetic. He is 1 year older than my eldest son. Okay. Right. And also to young apprentice professional Madani, NGO of Japan, and UTM Excite, one of the Center of Excellence in UTM. I would like to start informally to talk, to introduce some of my research team, but it was an old picture from 2012. Alhamdulillah, I have students from various countries. I'm very happy and very proud to share. I always share this picture with my students in research methodology class. I have students from Iran, from Iraq, from Pakistan, from Nigeria, from Kamal University, and many from various states in Malaysia. It was a 2012 picture, and all of them has graduated and has become lecturers in their countries and also become managers in a few factories. Little bit about myself. Currently, my H index is 25. The Scopus H index is 25. It was mentioned as 22. That was in 2016. And my Google Scholar H index is 31. And last night, I checked number of citations in Google Scholar is actually a little bit higher than 4,140. But in Google Scholar, it may that some of other researchers papers have been wrongly put in our paper. So it was actually written higher than this, but I think my own papers has only 4,140 citation, and I am currently supervising 6 PhD students, and I'm very happy that at least one of them is here, and one of my master students is here. So, and 22 PhD have graduated, and 35 master students have graduated. Okay. Before we discuss into the topic of research publication, we need to see the bigger picture of the research output, so that we know where does this journal publication stand. So this is what we are going to discuss today on scholarly publication. These are all the output from research. We have for lecturers, the research output will be the number of PhDs and master's degrees students who have graduated. And for those who are doing PhD, your own PhD is the most important research output. Any improved product, software, process, any research and innovation award. In UTM, we have the Inatex award, we have the Pitchipter award. So these are all the research output, the networking we are developing with other industries, other universities, the services that we are invited to give. So those are also our research output, whether we are granted any patent or copyright, that's the intellectual properties. And this is what we are going to discuss, scholarly publication, which is the journal publication. What is meant by scholarly publication is that it needs to be reviewed before it is published. So that is what's termed as scholarly publication. When we also have other publications, such as like Utusan Malaysia, Sinar Harian, or the magazines, Straits Times magazines, it is called other publication. Even textbook is not called scholarly publication, it is still under other publication. And the number of citations, our H index, and the income generation, that we get from our research. Now we're going to focus on why this topic is important, why selecting appropriate journals is important. The first reason is we want to minimize the chances of our papers being rejected. Or in other words, we want to maximize the chances of our papers being accepted. That will be one of the important factors, important reason for this topic. The other one is to maximize the benefit of the papers. That is, it must be read by as many people, as many researchers as possible, and other researchers can build on our research to improve their research, so that our research will not be repeated, so that our research conducted in UTM will benefit somebody from Siberia, from Mongolia. Why? Because our papers are being published and they can refer to our papers. So we want to maximize the benefit so that other people will continue our work. If not, there will be a waste of energy, waste of money, waste of time, because people in the world are going to repeat the same thing every day, because we don't know what other people are doing. But if we have published and people can access to our papers, then there will be good cooperation between the researchers throughout the world. And then I will discuss in detail on this to fulfill the objectives in publishing papers. To fulfill the objective in publishing papers. Why publish papers? So what are the reasons we want to publish papers? The first, the foremost, the most important that we need to always remind ourselves, the main reason we publish papers is so that we can share and disseminate the knowledge that we have gained, that we have obtained from our work. So it must be the first reason. It must be the first reason, not other reason. So the first reason, I need to remind myself and everybody to remind themselves that the purpose of us publishing is to disseminate the knowledge so that we can share with other people. The other reason, which is also important, is to be recognized as an excellent researcher. This is very important for our career. We want to be recognized as an excellent researcher. How are we recognized as excellent researcher? Example is that if we are being invited to give a keynote speaker, we are invited to become an external examiner, we are invited to review certain research application, grant application. So there is a recognition. There is a recognition as an excellent researcher. Or we win awards or rewards. The other one is to fulfill our yearly KPIs as a lecturer and as a researcher. So every one of us, if you work in a university or research institution, or you work as a postdoc, you have a KPI to achieve. Right. So we must balance between the KPI as a lecturer and also to be recognized as excellent researcher. Okay, why I said that we have to balance. And also it is important for us, I write here, important to prioritize. Okay, I give you an example. If you are, let's say, a postdoc in certain university, you are given a KPI of 5 index papers. You have to publish 5 index papers in a year. But it is not being specified whether the index papers are Q1 journal or Q2 journal or Scopus index. It is only specified that you have to fulfill 5 index papers. So in order to fulfill, then let's say that you don't have enough time. You don't have enough time, so you need to fulfill that. Let's say by December 2018. So you have to rush and get your papers published in index papers, in index journal. So index journal probably published in Q4 journal or Scopus index journal is faster. So you have to sacrifice your intention, in this case, to publish in Q1 or Q2 journal, because your priority will be to fulfill the 6 papers you have to publish as a researcher. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is a balance. So you must know what is your priority. Then requirement for graduation. Okay. What is the requirement for graduation for a PhD student in UTM? You need to publish at least 1 Scopus paper. One Scopus paper. So that is a requirement for graduation. So if you don't have time, you are about to finish your 3 years. You are about to finish your 3 years and you don't have any papers yet. So your priority is that you want to get at least 1 Scopus papers. So maybe at that time also you have to sacrifice your intention of getting very good papers, because the time is, there's a time constraint there. So you need to. And then requirement for promotion. So this is important for those who are aspiring to become lecturers or currently lecturers in UTM or other universities. In UTM now, we need to have maybe 30 papers, 30 index papers in order to be promoted to professor. So there's a requirement for promotion, and also there is a requirement that the lecturers must have certain numbers that they are the corresponding author. So there is another requirement. And then to get award or reward, for example, you want to become TRSM, top research scientist in Malaysia, or you want to get award as best researcher in UTM. So this is also important. And then to fulfill the KPIs of our research grant. For the lecturers, when we apply the research grant for GUP, Grant University Penyelidikan, Research University Grant, or the MUHE grant, FRGS, we need to have certain number of papers. So fulfilling the KPIs of our research grant is also another reason why we publish papers. And then, besides your own objective, you must also think the objective of our university, of UTM, or wherever you work. So in UTM, being a research university, we have to fulfill the requirement of MIRA, which means that we need to have certain number of papers, and that certain number of papers must be in Q1 and Q2. I hope you are familiar with Q1 and Q2. Maybe we can talk. So we also have to think, besides thinking about ourselves, we have to think about our institution. We have to fulfill the requirement of MIRA. Also, there will be more marks for UTM if we have collaboration with industry. So if our papers have co-authors from industry, then there will be extra marks. So besides thinking of ourselves, we should also think of how to provide more marks to UTM in the MIRA audit. Now, we talk about factors to consider in journal selection. Number one, the most important factors in selecting journal is we have to consider the scope of the journal. The scope of the journal. Before you want to submit to any journal, you have to go to its website. The website. This is example of a Scopus Index journal. It is actually a Unum Simulator journal. Now it is being managed by Springer. It is called International Journal of Mechanical and Materials Engineering. So we have to read the aims and scope. Aim and scope. So this is what is written in the website, the aim and scope. It is quite detailed, quite detailed. I have put it there. So you have to cover what are the areas that being covered in this journal. What is the specialization? It is on the mechanical and machining properties of material science, how they apply to materials, and so on. And also it is stated here about metals, polymers, ceramics, intermetallics, and composites. So for me, who is working in composite and polymers, I would think that this journal is will accept my papers on the areas of polymers, although it may be that this is not the priority areas for this journal. Then other areas of interest, tribology, joining, mechanical. Probably when it states here the other areas of interest, maybe this is considered to be part of that journal, but may not be the main interest of this journal. Also, you mean read here, the journal accepts reviews, theoretical, experimental works as contribution. So if you have a review paper, then this is one of the journal that you can consider to submit. So this is another example of scope of the journal, polymer testing. This is one of the journals that is quite popular to me, and I have published quite a number of papers. And if our papers is developing a new technique or new testing of polymeric material, then this would be the priority journal. So the name it is polymer testing, and it will focus on developing new testing methods for polymers. Number two, the second factor that you should consider is the publisher. Publisher. And we should, if our papers are very good, we should publish in a very established publisher. Number one is Elsevier. What else? Springer, Taylor and Francis. Emerald would be quite established, but not as same level maybe as Elsevier. We have so many, but the famous one is Elsevier, Springer, SAGE. How to pronounce that? Sage. Sage, not Sage. So, and why publisher is very important? Through my experience, publishing in Elsevier is very fast. It's very fast. It takes a very short time to review. And one of the tricks for you to be to publish a paper is that you must establish yourself to be a reviewer. Okay? You must be a reviewer to that journal. Once you become a reviewer to that journal, you know certain tricks of that journal. Okay? All right. And I know very well that most of the Elsevier journals, they are very competent. They are very competent because firstly, they will give me only 14 days to review, and few days before that, they will give me a reminder. They will give a reminder. There are certain journals who which did not give any reminder. And then if we go over the duration, then there is no action taken. But for Elsevier journal, you must be very careful. You must be very careful because you would not like to receive an email from them saying that, dear Professor Azman, it seems that we do not need your review anymore. I don't like to receive that email. Okay. I have received few emails like that, but I will not. That will be not a good remark. Not that will spoil my credibility. So I must be on time. And also country. You would like to choose. It depends on you. Maybe you would like to submit to journals from Western country, this from United States or from United Kingdom. Sometimes there are also journals from Brazil or Siberia. Okay, maybe if you want one day to pursue your postdoc in Brazil, it may be a good strategy to submit to a journal, Brazil Chemical Engineering Journal, maybe. So, country journal indexing database. This is what you should see here, abstracting and indexing. You must check the website to see what are the indexing bodies that this journal subscribes to. So you can see the International Journal of Polymeric Material is abstracted in. So the one that you should check is Science Citation Index. Science Citation Index means that the journal will have impact factor. So there are so many indexing bodies, but the one which is important as far as UTM is concerned is it must be in Science Citation Index. That means it will have impact factor. It is in Scopus, or it is in the ERA, the Australian Excellent Research something association. Okay. But you must not trust 100% the website. You must double check this with Journal Citation Review, JCR. Okay? You must double check by putting the ISSN number into JCR, and you see that this journal is really abstracted in Science Citation Index. Not only you put the name, because there are so many journals with the same name. What you to be extra careful is to put the ISSN number and make sure that the impact factor is true. What is being claimed, what is being claimed by this journal website is true. So there are two ways for you to ensure, so that you will not waste your good work. You have been doing PhD in the lab for the last 3 years, and you have very good results, and suddenly you publish in the wrong journal because you do not double check it, and when you apply for position of a lecturer or postdoc, and when RMC check, then there is no such journal. There is no such paper inside the Web of Science. So make sure you be careful on this. So if it is in the JCR or Journal Citation Review and index in Web of Science, then it should have impact factor. Impact factor is related to the level of prestigious of the journal. Now we have quite full.
Wait 1 minute, wait 1 minute.
I hope our brothers in Japan are also quite comfortable. I've been to Hokkaido last year to visit Sapporo Winter Festival. Okay. Okay. Impact factors, if it is abstracted in Web of Science. And then the higher the impact factor, it is so-called, the better is the journal. Okay. And it is more difficult to publish if the higher the impact factor. And from the impact factor, we can know what is the rank. Last time, we focus more on the impact factor, but currently we consider different areas will have different level of impact factor. So it is more fair. It is more fair to use ranking. Ranking, that is, we compare the journal within the same area. So you need to check the impact factors and you need to check the ranking of that journal. Sometimes certain journal, they will have in one or in more than one category. More than one category. So if, for example, fibers and polymers, if you check this journal in the category of polymer science, maybe it is in Q3. But there is another category. I cannot remember at the moment. It is in Q2. Q2. So fibers and polymers are considered to be a Q2 journal rather than a Q3, based on the highest ranking. So you need to check this and know in which category, this journal are. Okay. So this is related to journal categories. Sometimes it is better that we publish also in other areas. For example, I'm working on epoxy resin. I can publish in Polymer Journal, but I also can publish in Journal of Civil Engineering, Building and Civil Engineering Material, for example. And it is in Q1. It is in Q1. Although it is the main focus of that journal is not polymer, but it also accepts published there and it has been accepted. So we don't only publish in journal that is within our related category, but we can also look around whether in other areas they can accept our papers or not. Then we check the publication frequency. Certain journals, they are very effective, very fast. They can publish every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. There are journals, I'm not sure whether there are journals we publish every week. So every day, every 2 weeks, I know there's Journal of Applied Polymer Science. But there are also journals which publish only twice a year or even once a year. So if you want to publish in journal which publish in the publication frequency is once a year, then if you miss, then you have to wait for another year. And then members of editorial board. Okay. If your papers are very good, it's very you have advanced the frontiers of knowledge, and it is recognized to be significantly contributing to scientific knowledge, then you would like to publish in a prestige journal. So one of the criteria of a prestige journal is that the members of the editorial board are well known. If you check the editorial board, and it seems that and you can check the Google Scholar of the editorial board members, and they themselves also never publish. Okay, so you can see the level of quality of the journal. So we want to publish where the members of the editorial board are experts in the field. But okay, if your priority is to get it published, then as long as it's in Scopus or SI, it doesn't matter. So it depends on what are your priorities. Specialized or general journal. Specialized journal is, for example, like I showed you just now, polymer testing, or Journal of Applied Polymer Science. So it is specialized in polymer or polymer composites. But general journal, what is the example of a general one? Very close to us.
Nature.
General technology. General technology will accept papers from various fields. So it is more general journal. Or in UKM, we have Science Malaysia. Science Malaysia is also quite general. So we want, that depends. We prefer to be in a specialized journal. For me, if it is a good paper, I would like to send to a specialized journal. But if it is being rejected, then I have no choice. Probably the next one will be in the general journal. Peer review and editorial decision-making process. So these are the considerations. Time to review. How long does the reviewer takes to review? And normally you will only know this if you yourself is a reviewer. You yourself is a reviewer. If you are not a reviewer, you are very young researcher doing first year PhD. How will you know this? You may know this if your supervisor is a reviewer. You can talk with him, you can discuss with him, or you have seniors who have experience submitting to this journal. Time to be sent to review. Okay. Time to be sent to review. From the day you submit the paper, how long does it take for it to reach the reviewer? Some journal may take too long, very long. Okay, but for the established journals, they have certain procedure. And then this you can know based on your experience as an author, or as a reviewer. Decision-making process. Decision-making process is different journal will have different style in making this decision. For example, if your paper is accepted with minor correction, some journals, they have the procedure that even it is minor correction, they will send back to the reviewer, which will take long time. Okay. Some journals, you know that this decision are being made by the editor. The editor will look into your revised manuscript, and he or she will decide. So this will based on your experience. Also, you know better if you become a reviewer. Okay. Quality of review. Quality of review. If you are, let's say, quite a senior professor, or you are Nobel laureate winner, so you are not concerned about impact factor anymore. You are not concerned about promotion. What you need is a good review. Good review. So, because why? Because you want to learn new knowledge. If the quality of review is not good, then when you read the review, there is nothing much you can get. Maybe sometimes I also have reached this stage. When I receive the review, I will be looking forward to read a very good review from the reviewer. I just don't like to be accepted without correction. I would like to be accepted with some correction, but I don't like to be rejected as well. Okay. Anybody wants to share your experience on this? Okay. Rejection rate. Rejection rate is also one of the factors to consider. Last 10 years ago, I sent my PhD students' papers to Polymer International. Polymer International. Then I was rejected. Then in the email, rejecting my paper, that our acceptance rate is only 10%. So I was not so sad. Maybe my paper is in the 11%. However, the good news is that I have sent another paper later on, different paper, and it was accepted and was published. So I'm very happy that my paper is in the top 10%. How do we know the rejection rate? I will show you later. They will tell you the rejection rate of this journal. I will show you. And then the reference in our manuscript. This is also another important consideration. That means if you want to send to a journal of, let's say, child psychology, then in our paper, there must be at least one paper that we refer, at least, okay? At least one paper from that journal. And not only one paper, it should be quite a recent paper. Like say, now we are 2018, it should be in 2017 paper. Why? Because an old paper will not contribute anything to the impact factor of that journal. Okay? Because impact factor will take into account only recent papers. So if we want to contribute to the impact factor of that journal and make the editor happy, so we must cite one paper from that journal. That's only one reason. But the other reason is that if there is no reference at all, that means that journal is not interested in our area of study. So then we don't have to send to that journal. So it must be a match between the reference and the journal that we are going to submit. Before we submit, we also, besides reading the aim and scope of that journal, we should also check the recent papers published in the journals to see whether the journals are currently interested or not in this area. Is it a hot topic in that journal? So look upon the 2018 and 2017 papers, whether there are any relevant papers in that journal. Author's profile. Okay. we want in our CV to show that we have submitted in different journal. If we have submitted to this journal, out of that 10 papers, we have submitted 7 to this journal, then it may not be good for our let's say credibility, or if you want to ask for promotion. Maybe the interviewer will ask why you have submitted to the same journal. Do you have a friend in the editorial board? So it is better that we publish in many journals. This happened to one of my friends in Malaysia. He was not accepted in the promotion for the first time and was asked why he has published in the same journals many times. So better that we publish in different journals. No, this one is journals that we have published. Okay, author's profile means the one that I explained just now is this one, journals that we have published. Author's profile is that we want to see who have published in that journal. Okay, some journals, although it is American-based journal, but most of the authors are Chinese. The English people seem not to publish in that journal. So maybe if our papers are good, we want to publish in where all the top researchers publish. I'm not saying the Chinese are not good, but we want a journal that have profile from all countries. Open access and processing fee. We need also to check whether the journal accept open access. If we have money and we want to publish in open access, because that will increase our citation. Okay, this journal, it is the trend now. More journals are having this option, open access. Open access, and some journals have only open access, like Hindawi journals. Like Hindawi journals. And if it's open access, we also have to check what is the processing fee. If we don't want to spend everything you have already formatted, and you are about to press the submit button and you check the processing fee is 10,000 ringgit. So you must check it first. Check it first that it is worthwhile or not. Even now, our general technology, we have processing fee. How much is the processing fee of general technology? You have never published in journal technology. Free, it was free. Now it is around 500 ringgit. 500 ringgit. Science Medicine of UKM is more expensive. And journals availability, whether that journals is available or not in UTM or in Malaysia. If the journals are not available in Malaysia, then you have published, but you cannot read your own work. Nobody in Malaysia can read your work. So you need to check whether it's available or not. If the journals are not available, how can you get access to it? You can use site. There's a underground online free of charge. Sci-Hub.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not promoting.
You're online.
But the other ways is you can use ResearchGate. ResearchGate is very, very friendly. You can ask your friends in ResearchGate to give the papers, or you can also email to your friends who are working in Korea or in Japan. They probably have more journal subscribed. UTM is not as rich as before, so there are many journals that we used to subscribe are not available anymore. Okay. Instruction to authors. Some journals they have limited numbers. Only let's say 5,000 words. So if your papers is more than 5,000, then you have to submit to another journal. So you must read the instruction to authors first. beside the aim and scope, the other one is to read the instruction to authors and particularly about the words limit. And if your papers are review papers, then you might be considering whether to submit to specialized journal for review articles or to any journals that also accept review articles. You must bear in mind that there are journals which do not accept review articles. So you must check whether this journal will accept review articles, or you might want to send to a specialized review articles journal. In my field, for example, is Progress Polymer Science. The impact factor is 27. 27. We have also polymer reviews, impact factor of nearly 10. So normally the review journal, they have very high impact factor. So journal selection process. We must think early, targeting which journal we are going to submit early in our writing process. And also we must be clear in the objective of writing the paper that I have discussed just now about all the why we publish. So you must be clear on what are the main reason. Okay, the first reason is for us to share and to disseminate. So what are the second after that? Depends. It will be different to different people. For those who are professors, they have different priorities. For those who are PhD students and about to submit, so your priority is just to get one Scopus paper. So different people have different priority. And if you are a vice chancellor, probably what is more important is UTM. You think about UTM, so you want to contribute the Myra marks to UTM. And then select between 2 to 3 possible journals based on the selection criteria. Based on the selection criteria, you try to list these are the potential journals that you are going to submit. Ahmad, so do you have any journals in mind now? Not sure yet. So you must be thinking about 3 to 5 journals that are possible to submit. Maybe based on the reference and the quality of your research. Okay. So this, choose the journal that matches the quality of our manuscript. So if it is a PhD work, which I assume to be of high quality, then you should submit to a Q1 or Q2 journal. Some of my papers are from my undergraduate students. So for me, for an undergraduate student, if I can publish in Scopus in that journal, then it is good enough. There are so many undergraduate work which is not being published anywhere. So if I can get, I have published in ISI journal from my undergraduate students. So, okay. So you must know, you must able to measure the quality of your research. You can discuss with your friend, your supervisors, they can give advice. And then matches with our objective, the reason we publish the papers. Considering the factors in the journal selection that we have discussed. So taking into account of the 3, then we should choose the best journal for our paper. Now there are online indexes that will help us to select journal. We can use this. Anybody who are familiar with all this? Dr. Siti Munirah, have you used all this? Scopus. Scopus is actually not specialized in choosing journal, but we can use that. One of my PhD students taught me a few years ago. And then it does. It is not a publisher. It is a company which specializes in training. on publication. Springer, they have Journal Suggester, Springer, and Elsevier, Journal Finder. Okay. I want to teach you how to use Scopus. Okay, you are familiar with Scopus. It is still being subscribed by UTM. Okay, you go to this page. This page, you select, firstly you must select article title, abstract, and keywords. You go to this page. And then you type your area. It's not topic. For me, I type the PVC composites. PVC composites was my area for my PhD. PVC composites. And then you press search. Then you get all the papers that has PVC composites, either in title, keyword, or abstract. You have this has been done many years ago. I think this is more than 5 years. 1,744. And then you click Analyze Results. You click Analyze Results. Then you will get this trend from this year until 2010. 11. And then how many documents per year. Then you click source title. Okay, and then you will get all the journals there. So you can see name of journal and how many papers have been published in that. So also you can check authors. You can check authors who are working in the area. So in 2011, when I checked, I was on the number 9. I was number 9 in PVC composite. So it was quite memorable for me, this one. Because when I went to the interview for my professorship, that was in 2007. So I told the LPU board members that I am the number 9 expert in PVC composites in the world. So they were quite impressed with that. Because I said that I use Scopus and confirmed that I am number 9 in the world. But now maybe no more because I have switched to other areas. So I have not been publishing in PVC composite for in the last maybe 7 years. I have not published. I've moved to nano composites and graphene. We can also check which universities are interested in that work, where UTM is. So UTM is number 10 in PVC composites. The next one that I want to show you is to use, this one is to Springer?
Elsevier.
Elsevier. Okay. Elsevier, you go to this page and you need to put the title of your paper and you need to put the abstract. And then you press the field of research and they will give you the journal. Okay, insert the manuscript title. Insert the abstract. And then you select the fields of study. So it is chemistry and material science and engineering. Click find journal. Okay. So they will give you detailed result. Detailed result. quite interesting. This is the one that I told you. They will tell you the rejection rate. Yeah. And they will tell you how long does it take to review and so on. It's quite detailed. But the disadvantage is that it is only for Elsevier journals. They will not do for other journals. So you can use this after you have your abstract and title. Right. Submitting the paper. There are a few ways to submit the paper. Traditional submission by mail, hard copy. But I think this is not being practiced anymore. As email attachment. Only very few journals use this. And most of the journals, they will use journal online submission. When you submit, you need to have a cover letter. Cover letter, and you can write in the cover letter, you must emphasize that this paper is not being submitted elsewhere. It is unethical for anybody to submit more than one paper. You must only submit one paper. If it is being rejected, then you submit it. You cannot submit same paper to two different journals. I was once a reviewer, and then I received the same paper from two different journals, from the same author. So I need to reject both. I tell the editor that this person has submitted same papers to another journal as well. So you must try not to that happen to us.
What in a situation where you submit that to a journal and after a long time the journal wrote to you that they have a lot of paper, so you should withdraw your paper if you cannot wait. I did not withdraw the paper, and 2 weeks later the editor wrote to me that I should take my paper and should not submit the paper to the journal. I submitted to another journal, and the journal accepted the paper and published the paper. Then the editor wrote to me again that they were having issues then to transfer to another publisher, that they are finally transferred from Elsevier to Taylor & Francis, that they want to now process my paper again.
The one that took a long time now to process.
Yes. Then he explained now that they were having issues with the Elsevier and they are transferring to another publisher, which is Taylor & Francis now. So they now sent me a link now that I should withdraw the paper.
You should withdraw the first paper from the first
Elsevier and now resubmit to Taylor & Francis. So I was confused because the paper had already been
published by whom?
Springer.
Very complicated. But if you want to submit to another journal, you have to send an email telling that you withdraw. That's the rule. We should emphasize why the paper is important, and also we can suggest some possible. But journal, we have one section that you have to suggest the peer reviews in the cover letter. Okay, I will tell you that suggesting the peer reviewers is very important. If you are asked to suggest, then we should take the opportunity. So this is example of one cover letter that has done. Okay. And this is another one. In this one, I have suggested the name of the reviewer. Okay. In this case, I have suggested Both are actually my friends. This is a professor from USM. This is a researcher from Kuwait who used to work with me in UTM. It is best that you do not suggest names from UTM as well. But there are also journals which accept even the person the staying in the room beside you to become reviewer. It happened once that one of my former PhD students, he became a reviewer for me, but he did not tell me until the paper was accepted. There was one case. In a journal of composite materials, I can share with you, that my paper was rejected because I give 4 names and all 4 are Malaysian. They said that your paper has no international interest because you suggest all 4 Malaysian reviewers. This is one example of not a good cover letter. I was the editor-in-chief of Malaysian Polymer Journal. So I received one paper from, I'm not stating the country, but it seems that he is, of course, not an English.
Yeah.
He has problem with capital letter. He has a problem with capital letter. So he did not start the sentence with a capital letter. And he, when you write, you must be quite formal. You must not, although you must not say Dear Azman Hassan. It's like your friend. So this cover letter is a first impression of yourself. So make sure that you are giving a good impression on yourself. What happens after you have submitted your manuscript to the journal? This is the peer review process. You submit the paper and the editor will receive that, and he will accept, he will determine the quality, we'll discuss that, and then he will send to the reviewer, and you do the correction, and if it's accepted, then we'll send to the final stage for the proofread, and then it will be published. When, firstly, now in most Elsevier journal, your paper will first be screened by the editorial office. Editorial office means that by the, maybe the editorial assistant and also the editor himself. The initial screening, they will check for the language, whether your language is up to certain standard, your language. And then for compliance with instruction to authors. So that's why you must read the instruction to authors carefully, especially the number of tables, the number of figures, the number of words. And then they will check whether the subject matter is relevant to the journal. They will check based on the aim and scope of the journal and the title and abstract. And then they will see the overall quality. Is there anything new? Anything new and anything significant in your research that it should be sent to the reviewer. Now the reason why they do this initial screening is because they do not want to waste the time of the reviewer. So they want to send to the reviewer that the paper is already up to a certain standard. But not all journals will have this. Some journal, they will send to review almost all papers. The initial screening is not very strict, maybe. The Elsevier journal is more strict. So there are many, there are many cases where researchers, they get rejected at this stage. But in Springer, they do not so much reject at this stage. They will send to reviewer. Okay? And I tell you, it's very frustrating to get rejected at this stage. Because you don't learn anything. If you get rejected by the peer review in the peer reviewing process, then at least there are some comment for you to improve. But this one, there is no comment, just being rejected. Okay. The peer review. The purpose of the peer review is to help the editor decide whether to publish the paper and to help the authors improve the paper, whether or not to accept it. How are the peer reviews being identified? One of the ways is that the editor will check the reference that you use and they will select the corresponding author from the paper. And then from the literature searching, the editor themselves will make a literature search based from the scope researcher ID. They will identify the person suitable from the editor's knowledge, okay, friends and so on. Database of that journal. So the journal will have all the database. And also the author's suggestion. So if you have the opportunity, then you should suggest and give reason why you suggest these people. It will be a good, and it will be an advantage if your reviewer is one of those from your reference list. Why? Because that person will like your paper to be accepted and published. It will increase his citation. So maybe that when you want to suggest, you suggest the researcher from your reference list, the most relevant, the one that you cite most, then becomes your reviewer. That would be an advantage. But many people are very professional. They are very professional. The citation is not the most important thing, but maybe influence. They are very professional. That means that if your paper is not good, they still will reject. Reviewing process. Normal review process will take around 2 months. But you can be rejected within 1 hour. One of my friends told me he was rejected within 1 hour. And there was once I gave a talk. One of the lecturers, he raised up his hand. He said that he was being rejected in few seconds. In few seconds. He said that maybe the journal, it is a banking journal, but his paper was on Islamic banking. He said that because the journal is only for normal banking, not on Islamic banking. So when the word Islamic banking appeared, then he was being rejected by the computer. Normally it is between 1 to 4. I have experience of getting more than 4. I have once, and then decision by the editor to accept, to reject, or to revise. And then the next stage, if it's being accepted, then proof preparation, checking by authors, and then it will be in press. And then you will have completion, page number, and so on. For the purpose of promotion, if you are a lecturer, even if the paper is in this stage, you already can use it. It's already considered to be published. Even if you are a student, for the submission, you need not to reach this stage. Okay? But for the MIRA audit, UTM, you need to reach this stage. Then you will be counted. There are certain journals from this stage to this stage can take more than 1 year.
Oh.
There are cases. I know which journal it is. So it will be low in my priority. It will be low in my priority. I will send that. I will send to that journal only after it is if it is being rejected by 4 or 5 journals. Then I will go to that journal because it takes a long time. If you are a reviewer, then these are some of the questions that were asked by the editor for you to comment. The first one is, does the manuscript contain new and significant information to justify publication? Is the problem significant and concisely stated? So it is good when you write the paper, you must think as if you are a reviewer. You must see that you pass all these things. Therefore, if you are being invited to be a reviewer, then you should accept. You should accept. But it takes quite a long time. It may take, let's say, 1 hour. 1 hour for you to really understand. And in my case, sometimes I receive in 1 year around 100 papers. So it is quite a lot of time. But now I started to reject. Reject. I only select. But I'm afraid if I reject too many, then I will not be invited at all. So I need to be balanced. Okay. Are the interpretation and conclusion justified? Is the abstract concise? And is the language acceptable? So different journal will have different type of assessment. This is European Polymer Journal. Originality, important contribution, reliability of results, critical discussion. Okay, although this different, but every journal will look for this originality. Originality. Some journals, they want the reviewer to give rating 1 to 100. 1 to 100. And there is no criteria, no dalam kita bagi makan ada rubric. There is no rubric, so I just give anything that which I think suitable. 1 to 100. And then they give few criteria, and for us to check whether it fails by large amount, fails by small amount, succeeds by small amount, succeeds by large amount. And this is another journal. Almost the same thing. The first one is the subject address in this article is worthy of investigation. The information presented was new, and then we are asked to give the comments here. Normally there are 2 comments. One is comments to author, which everybody will be able, the author can read. Then there is comments to editor, that the editor will read without showing to the author. Then this is the recommendation by the editor. In its present form, that means accepted without any correction. Normally, you will get this after the revised manuscript. Very seldom you get this in the first original manuscript. After a minor revision, after a major revision, rejection with recommendation for submission. Okay, and there's a rejection. Even if you get this one, rejection with recommendation for submission, it is little bit more serious than major revision. But you should take this opportunity to resubmit. I have experienced 1 or 2. I have initially get rejection with recommendation for submission, and then I improve. Then finally the paper was accepted. The difference between major correction and rejection with recommendation for resubmission is that you will get a new number because it is a new submission. It's a new submission. The good thing is that the difference between this one and this one, the rejection with recommendation for submission, it shows that the editor thinks there is some novelty in this paper, but it is not rightly discussed. So when it is being rejected, then there is a problem with novelty. So you must think, or you need to explain better. So this one is good in terms of novelty, but you need to improve in terms of writing. This is example of email telling that the paper is being rejected. The manuscript apparently seems to correspond to the standard of scientific papers. However, a close scrutiny reveals numerous deficiencies which make it unacceptable for publication. I do not see the philosophy of the work, the message sent, or new information offered. So everybody, the reviewers and the editor will be looking for the contribution of this paper. And normally you will get this. This is you need to revise. Revise and submit this manuscript before I can reach editorial decision. So in this case, it is like a major revision. Major revision, and the comments are given here. So this is the good news that the paper has been accepted in the current form. So you can celebrate. You can celebrate. Why papers are rejected? The first one is the paper does not fit the scope of the journal. That means you have not really read the aim and scope of the journal. We'll go very fast. We'll go very fast. What time should we end? The paper does not contribute to new knowledge. This would be another major reason. The paper does not meet established ethical standards. Sometimes they do a plagiarism check by using Turnitin. And if you have published in a conference, and you're in the conference publish your paper as a journal paper, then when you want to submit the real paper later on, then they will check that there is some similarities. So it will be a problem. Today I received anybody who is going to low carbon. Are you going for low carbon conference? Okay. Ahmad. Today I received one email from the organizer saying that one of my PhD students, the paper, the abstract is being accepted, and then there are two choices. One is to submit to CET, Chemical Engineering Transaction, which is a journal. It is a Scopus journal to that conference. Nobody. And then there is an option whereby the paper can be published as a conference proceeding. Therefore, if they say that if you intend to submit to the journal, then it's better to another journal, then it is better that we take the second option. Because once you have submitted in that chemical engineering transaction, it is considered a journal. If you have a complete result, all your complete results, very good results, now you want to send to a Q1 journal, then it will be, you will have a problem because you have submitted in a Scopus in that journal. So you must be very careful now. When you go to conference, your paper will be published in a Scopus Index journal, that may prevent you to publish in a better journal later. So Akmal also think about that. But if the work is not so good, getting in that Scopus Index journal is already an achievement. That's okay. But if
in case you submit part of your work to a conference and you now improve on it, maybe you have been add more results. Can't it be submitted? Can't it be submitted for journal?
Because the result is already copyright, and it is already the property of that journal now. So you cannot use that to another journal. That's the problem. That's the problem. Now, because most of the journals they are using Turnitin now. Most of the journals now they are checking on that. Last time it was not that serious. Now they are really checking on that, and so you must be very careful on this.
I have seen journals, the same result, the same author, but just a little bit additional.
Depends on the systems of that journal. If they do not do anything to check, then it's okay. Carelessly prepared. The paper has been carelessly prepared. That means you say that in the text as shown in figure 4, but actually as shown in figure 4, actually the figure is figure 3. So if there is more than one mistake, that means you can be considered to be, the paper can be considered to be under this category. Not prepared according to journal's guideline. There was one case, one paper was being rejected because the number of words exceed the limit. It may be not that serious, but if on that day the editor received 5 good papers, and they want to find reason to reject. So if you have exceeded by 10 words, then there's a good reason to reject.
Excuse me, bro. My question is about the rejected papers. If we submit the rejected paper to another journals, so how to avoid the editor nominating the reviewers as the previous submission?
No way we cannot control, because it's already a different journal.
As a matter of fact, the editor referred to the references to find the reviewers, because for related works in the references. Okay, so my question is, how many times can we resubmit the rejected papers?
No limit. No limit. Okay. If you want to be safe, if you have some idea that this is the person who rejected your first paper, you can write to the editor that please do not appoint this person as the reviewer. You have the rights. Yeah. You can write to the editor. I will highlight you have a methodological problem. The number of experiment is 2. The amount is not enough. You should have a unique. Maybe as a beginner, you do not know how much data is required, but your supervisor should be able to advise how much data is required to make a paper. The statistics are inadequate, maybe for the social science, but even for science and engineering, you should at least have standard deviation. Some journals, they are very particular of having standard deviation. Okay, and also you need to make the right repeat number of trials. I was examiner for a first stage last week. So in that presentation, the student said that duplicate for the tensile test. I asked her how many times are you going to repeat for the same formulation. She said 2. I told her it's not enough for mechanical test. You need to do at least 5. You need to do at least 5. And then when she was doing the thermal testing, the DSC, TGA, she mentioned that it is triplicate. That means she's going to repeat 3 times. I said to her, normally you don't have to repeat for the DSC and TGA. It's very expensive and it's very time consuming. So for the one that needs 5, she said she wants to do 2, but the one that only needs 1, she wants to do 3. So all these things the supervisor must advise to get the right one. Language is poor. The paper is over the journal's word limit. Okay, the paper cannot compete with the high quality of other papers submitted to the journal. So your paper is already actually good, but that week or that particular day, there are so many papers coming, and yours is maybe in the bottom 10% for that day. But actually, it's not that bad. So you get rejected. Publication bias. Publication bias. Maybe the reviewer is the rival of your supervisor. Wrong choice of reviewers. Data has been poorly interpreted. One example is that if the graph is showing increasing and you mention decreasing in the text, that shows very poor. Analysis is weak and no explanation or no comparison with previous studies. The introduction is inadequate. We cannot see what is the contribution of the paper. So strategies to publish in high impact journal. So we are not going to discuss everything today, but the one which is related to us is the good strategy in revising the manuscript. Good strategy in revising manuscript is one of the things that you should do in order for you to get your papers published. I think this is a good place to start.
All right, okay, so we have talked around 1 hour already standing. So we'd like to open maybe for questions related to the past 1 hour content. So maybe if we have 2 or 3, I would like to open this for the audience. Any questions? So now we're going to go for the strategy in revising manuscript, but then the earlier part was more on the selection of journals. So we have these 2 main topics today. So this is the point where we're going to start the second topic. So any question related to the first topic, maybe we can ask.
Yes. My question is, sometimes we have submit papers for manuscript conferences. Most of these conference organizers, they are honest.
Not honest?
Yes. They claim their conference purpose index. After submission, you discover it's not. What can you do about that?
Probably we need another talk on how to select conference. Okay. For me, I have the same problem. I have been about how to what is the prestigious of the journal. I have been invited by a number of times to be speaker and also to become the committee member. In fact, they called me from 2 weeks ago. I was having lunch and I received a call from England. They said that they want to organize a conference in Dubai, and he wants me to be one of the committee members. And I have also received email many years. Now I begin to think how to actually determine the conference is genuine or not. Firstly, for me, the conference must be organized by a university or by a professional body, then I trust. If it is being organized by a company, then I will think twice. Normally I will ask, is this a professional body or is it a company, just a commercial company, they want to make money? Then I will not participate. Because I'm not, if there is any problem, then probably people can sue me because I'm the committee member. And I don't even know that. Okay. So in your case, you must try to check who are the organizers. If it is a company, then you should check the website. You email them. Yes, there are so many conference, they listed Scopus, but they do not specify the journal as well, right? They don't just say Scopus in that journal.
Yes.
So my advice is not to go to that. So
I have a case. I have submitted my 2 months script to the conference. And all
which
of them-
country? Where is it going to organize?
No, I don't want to mention countries. It triggers some reaction to the people. What I'm saying in short is, after I submitted the manuscript, they were accepted for publication, and the conference is Scopus Index Conference. However, I paid my registration, I signed all the copyright transfer, but at the end, they could not even produce the proceedings. They could not produce anything tangible. I was so lucky I was not able to go because of visa issue.
Outside Malaysia, sir.
Or in Malaysia.
Huh?
This country.
I was not in Malaysia at that time,
Oh, okay.
but it was outside my country, so I didn't attend it. But at least after accepting my manuscript, they're supposed to have a fair in the conference proceedings. Whether I attended or I did not attend it. Since I have contributed to the conference, no proceeding, nothing up to now. And my manuscript has been submitted. I have transferred my copyright to them, but they have not been published. I checked them online, I could not find them. My money has gone.
I think we learn the experience, we learn our mistakes, and we should not repeat in the future. That's only my advice.
Okay, any other question? One more before we
Yes.
continue?
Okay, sir. Please, I want to know for journal submission, mostly it's online submission. So how can I attach common unit? Because you just upload your paper or manuscript. That's what I can see.
I think there is option there. Option for cover letter. You need to check.
Okay, anyone know? That's not
That's the formatting comes before the submission. First submission for after revision. Formatting of the paper.
You in the first, you must comment accordingly for first time, even for the first time. But before you get published, they will send again for proofread to check. For example, the affiliation or the reference are complete.
okay. So regarding formatting, one of my experience is it depends on journal. Some of the journal they have template that you
Yeah.
can use. Some of the journal they don't have a proper template, so you can just submit text-based paper content. Okay, so we're going to continue for the second part. So later on, throughout the presentation, if you have questions, you can leave that. And we usually have another one part of question and answer session.
Any feedback from Japan? The following. Okay, how to address reviewers' comments in revised manuscript? Number one, not being outrightly rejected is an achievement. This is, you cannot get this sentence anywhere. This is my own opinion. Okay, when you receive the reply from the editor, if your paper, you don't expect that your paper will be accepted without correction. There must be some correction. Okay. But not being rejected outright, is already for me an achievement. Why I said outright? The word outright means that. What happened? Double check. Because there is also option of rejected but invited to resubmit. Yeah? So if you get rejected outright, that means it's not an achievement. But it is either minor correction, major correction, or rejected but invited to resubmit is a small achievement. Small achievement. Then have a realistic look at how the reviewers' requests can be met. You study in thorough examination together with your supervisor, and see and list down what you should do. Is there any of the reviewers asked to do more experiment? If asked to do more experiment, then it is quite a big issue. Big issue. Okay. As long as it is only explanation or what else, then it can be done. Use the reviewer's comments even if your paper is rejected. So if it's rejected, you want to resubmit to another journal, you must make use of that comment. Revise and submit promptly. You must know what is the deadline given, 3 months, 6 months, so do not go beyond that. Include a letter saying what revisions have been made. Okay. You must include a letter. They call it a rebuttal letter. And then, very important, you must make a point-by-point response to the reviews. All the comments you need to answer. And do not feel obliged to accept everything the reviewer says. And this is another important point. Be helpful and polite. Be helpful and polite, but not over polite. What is meant by over polite? One of my first PhD student, in fact, he won the Anugerah Chancellor. He's got many papers, and in his in his first paper, I told him that when you reply to the reviewer, you must be polite. So he was very polite. He started with thank you to the editor and thank you to the reviewer for the reading our article. And then we have all so many corrections. And he said thank you in every point. Thank you very much for the comment. Number 2, thank you very much for the comment. So I told him, you don't have to say thank you every time. Just say thank you once. So that's over polite. Be helpful. Be helpful means that try as much as possible for the reviewer to easily see the correction on which page, on which figure, and so on. Let's highlight the revisions in the revised manuscript. Make sure you address everything. Make sure you address everything. Okay. Maybe you are very cunning. You are very cunning. So let's say you have each one have 5 comments. One of the comments you cannot answer. So in your point-to-point response, you miss one. You only put 14. You expect that people will forget. So do not use this trick. You must respond everything, because if you are being caught, then it shows that you cannot answer that one. If you are asked to do more experiment, try to do it. If you are asked to do, let's say, scanning electron microscopy, you don't have any morphology to support your result. So you must try to do. It will give a good impression of your effort to the editor and review. But if you still cannot, you must provide a good explanation and be, make the editor or the reviewer feel pity you. Maybe it's a good trick as well, because you cannot do the experiment. One of the ways, I was asked to add few experiments. So I asked one of my postdoc. He's very experienced. He graduated from USM. I asked him how should we answer to this point. He said that you will write like this: the project has already finished, and the master student who did this project has already graduated, and we have finished our grant. And at last, the paper was accepted. But that's the last resort. You must try to do the experiment first. If you cannot do it, I'm not sure in computing you don't have to need more money, right? You just I'm not sure whether this is relevant to your field. Yeah.
I don't have that answer now.
Okay, you have
But
not.
the first time for me.
Do remember that each reviewer sees all comments and your replies. Be equally respectful to all. What does it mean? When you submit your paper, your revised manuscript, you have to answer all the points. Let's say there are 3 reviewers. So for the reviewer number 1, you say that thank you very much for kindly reading our paper and your relevant and positive constructive comment. And for number 2, you say the same thing. But for number 3, you just keep quiet. That is not good, because all the comments the revised manuscript may be sent to all reviewers. And then the reviewer number 3 will read, oh, this person doesn't like me. So you must try to make all the 3 happy. In the case where more than one referee has raised the same concern, it is best to cite like this: see response to point 2 from reviewer 1, for example, so you don't have to repeat if it's the same one. Never accuse the reviewer's bias and incompetence. For example, by saying that review 2 is lacking of expertise and completely misses the point. So, how to deal with comments you don't understand? There are 2 things. One is you try to figure out what is actually the reviewer trying to say, and you speculate and you try to answer. If not, you will ask them. You can say that I am afraid that I am clear as to the point you are making if you are saying this, but if instead you feel that like this, then I would argue this way. So you try to think first what is really meant by the reviewer. What is the best response to a reviewer's comments which you disagree without offending the reviewers? So the conclusion is, we as academicians must learn to receive feedback and to use it in a wise manner. So we must keep cool. We must keep cool and still thanks to the reviewer. And we must realize that the reviewer are doing their job for free. For free. So far, I have received only two reward for becoming a reviewer. One from Saudi Arabian Journal. They sent me 100 ringgit, $100 US. I was surprised. That's the first time. And then the other one is last time, many years ago, Journal Technology. They give me a pen. but others are for free. Yeah? Probably I have reviewed for the last 10 years, maybe 500 papers, and that's what I got. But I can put in my CV. Yeah? I can review this. So if you feel that the reviewer has offended you, you must keep cool and try to see their point of view, and do not feel that they are biased. But you also can communicate with the editor. Tell your feelings. Tell your feelings to the editor, and tell the editor why you think that the reviewer is wrong. But we hope that that will not reach the reviewer in that form. The editor, we hope the editor will understand our feelings. I want to give you an example of one of my papers which was accepted after three revisions. And I'm happy because this shows a good team working. We have so many authors, and we work in a team to answer to give all the response to the reviewers' comments. And this is our letter to the editor. We are very grateful to the reviewers on our revised manuscript entitled "Careful revision was made to our manuscript based on all comments from both reviewers. All changes and addition of new text made to the previous manuscript were marked in red colored fonts, or it can be highlighted in yellow." We hope that this revision meet the reviewers' approval and to the standard of your journal. So this is our answer. So you can. This is the form that you can do. Comments from reviewer 1. So you put the comment there. The problem is not significant and constructively stated, and give your response. And then the second comment, and this is your response. So you must respond to all comments. And then in the text, you must highlight. I like this one. Rather than making it red, I like to highlight in yellow. Yellow. So this is all the correction that we have done. How many of you have done this in your revised manuscript? Yeah, you did it?
Journal specified.
Journal specified it?
Specify that you must highlight it, and the second one will be clear. The first revised manuscript should be highlighted, and the second one, both of them, one should be highlighted, the other one not highlighted.
The same manuscript.
The same manuscript. Your revised manuscript, one highlighted, the other
two.
one. Yeah, sorry.
Radhika, you have submitted the paper?
Yes, Prophet, the masters have submitted.
If I am a reviewer, I would really, it's very helpful. We don't have to read everything.
Yes, it's good.
Even when you revise your thesis, it's good to have this as well. This is another letter that we have written. We have another 12 references were added, which we think is more understandable and more specific. So it is good that we tell all the 12 references here, and also we make the changes in the text. So it is very helpful, very easy. Make it the life easy for the reviewer and the editors. Based on my experience as well, if I have so many papers to review in the revised manuscript, I will check that if the authors have put a lot of effort and make the letter and all the point-to-point response very clear, and then we just glance through at the real paper. We don't have to check. Then most probably you will get it accepted. So you must make your point-to-point explanation as clear as possible. Okay, this is another example. Another way also you can do in table form. Okay. On this example of reviews comment and how not to respond. Okay. So you must make it very friendly and good explanation. This one, the method the authors propose is clearly wrong. The how not to respond, yes, we know. We thought we could still get a paper out of it. Sorry. The authors failed to reference the work of Smith at all to solve the same problem 20 years ago. The answer, we didn't think anybody had that. Actually, their solution is better than ours. A good one is you should say, the reviewer raises an interesting concern. That looks very English. The reviewer, interesting concern. However, our work is based on completely different first principles. This is another. Okay, this is you make a column. So first comment and your response is on the right hand instead of below it. So this will be another one. If there is no need for comment, just saying that what you have done is good, you can say, don't keep quiet. Say thank you very much. No reply required. Say something. Finishing now. A letter from frustrated author of a journal paper. You can get this. Have you ever read this? Enclosed is our latest version of this manuscript. We have again rewritten the entire manuscript from start to finish. We even changed the GD running head. Hopefully, we have suffered enough. Now we can satisfy even you and bloodthirsty reviewers. Still, from this batch of reviewers, C was clearly the most hostile. Okay, the last paragraph. Plus, you suggested that we shorten the manuscript by 5 pages. We were able to accomplish this very effectively by altering the margins and with a smaller typeface. We agree with you that the paper is much better this way. Okay. Last slide. Now, after we publish the paper, now we are thinking ahead now to become world-class researcher. And to become world-class researcher, then we need to have good pitch index and good citation. How to increase our citation? I suggest that you make use of ResearchGate. It's very, very good, very friendly. Once you publish, then you, if anybody asks you about your paper, then you can give through ResearchGate. Publish in top and relevant journal. Do research in current interesting area. Create interesting title and relevant keywords. Yes, I think interesting title is very important. One of my papers have more than 200 citations in Google Scholar. I think because of the title. That is something about potential material used in packaging. I think the word potential creates some interest in people to read. Self-citation. When you write your paper, it is not unethical to do self-citation. You should do if it is relevant, so that you can advertise your papers and to show to the reviewer that you are already an expert in that field. So you should I reviewed one paper for polymer testing last year, and in that paper, I think they have 20 review, 20 reference, and 15 is from the supervisor. So I really do not like it. So I made a comment that they should reduce the reference from the same author. It's more than nearly 75%. Presenting papers in conference. Besides really presenting paper in journal, you can present in conference. Present in conference so that people can ask you, can discuss about your project. Personal contact, send PDF of your published papers. This is one of my ideas, but I have not done it myself. If you can send the PDF, the soft copy of your paper, to maybe to all the corresponding author of the papers that you cite. They will be very happy, and probably they will cite your papers. So the citation will increase a lot. Write review papers, and when writing your review papers, include your own publication. I would like to share a picture in Straits Times. It appears in Straits Times. I received the award from the King of Perak, Sultan Nazrin, 2 years ago, for the 2016 Top Research Scientist in Malaysia. It is being given by Academy Science of Malaysia, and normally around 10 people per year. I think since they started, they have given around 100 scientists throughout Malaysia. Okay. Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, and thank you very much, Osman, for the valuable talk on how to select proposals and respond to the reviewers' comment. And maybe we can open for the second question and answer session. So please, for those who are online and also here, take this opportunity if you have a question that you'd like to ask. And we hope that Osman could help us to answer.
My first question is, the statement you made that we can send PDF to our contact, will it not breach the transfer of
I think it is okay. But what is questionable if we put online in ResearchGate? That's something that maybe infringe the copyright. But sending our PDF to our friends is personally.
The second question. What in a situation where a reviewer sent a comment and you see that his work he is referring you that, just in the example you gave, referring you that you've done good literature set, but you missed so journal, so journal, up to 6 journals. So in your search, a particular name keep coming up. You now discover that, oh, this might be not related to what you're writing. In that kind of situation, what do you do?
This is a difficult situation. I have faced the same problem. I have been asked to include certain papers, and when I check, the papers are not related too much. What I have done is many years ago. I have included. Maybe not doing because I know they will make sure my paper is accepted. So that's what I've done. I'm not sure I've done the right thing, but I I was not happy when I checked. It's not the same. It's not relevant to the topic,
yeah.
but I still included for the sake of getting.
The last question. You sent the paper to a journal. It's a Q1 journal about 4 reviewers. Make a comment that my paper is actually not related to this journal, that it is very suitable for another journal that had a higher impact factor, and actually have been rejected by that paper. And I came to a lower one. So the paper is quite suitable for that journal, which I have listed a lot of their journals in the references that I should. He advised the editor that I should send the paper. So in responding to the reviewers, you might need to respond to him.
Do not tell that you have been rejected by
Yes.
that. But you said that you prefer the current one. You prefer it to be published in the current one. But do not tell that you have been rejected. I think you should tell.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
The number of papers in the census citation factor, the number of papers, which means that my name is in the cohort paper, maybe it was the fact of teaching that because I have a lecturer in USM. He only wants to publish a lecture and his paper, major, and his paper will produce like every 2 years on paper, but only in nature. I don't really understand that.
Okay. Our age index will not decrease. It will only increase. If we publish more papers, let's say our age index is already 5, and then we publish more papers, and the new papers are not being cited, it will not decrease our age index. It will not decrease our age index.
But that one we can look at it one, like one paper is 5 cited.
Yeah, we can.
We can actually
Yeah, we can. Well, depends now on which stage of your career. Probably when he is already well known. So for him, the number of papers is not important, and publishing in low impact factor journal will affect his credibility. Now he wants to publish in good journal. There are certain people, they feel that publishing in lower impact factor journals or non-ISI is not good. It will affect his credibility. So it's better to have few papers but in good journal. I think that is for already top professors. They might have that idea.
Thank you very much. Okay, one from online. They were asking about the paying journals. So should we go for paying journals or compared to the free one? Because of easier maybe.
Okay, thank you. If I have a choice, I would go for the free journal. But if there is a sponsor which is going to pay for me, then I will also like to opt for the open access journal, okay? Because it will help me in maybe in citation. It's easy for people to get access to the journal. And also, many people relate paid journals to fake journal. Fake journals. Now there are fake news rule. Fake journal. So, but not all paid journals are fake journals. Journals like Hindawi journals, they are paid journals, but I was informed that Hindawi journals are genuine journals. Then there are also now Springer and Elsevier journals, which is considered to be a paid journal. So if you have sponsor, you can get it paid, then it is okay.
Any questions? Okay, one more from the online question. So they were asking if we are students, so most likely the graduation will be depending on journals, not conferences. Based on journals, numbers of journals, not numbers of conferences. So how to strategize between balancing between submitting for conferences or that?
If I am a student, going to conference is good. Although journals are more important than conference, but going to conference has its own purposes. That is for networking. That's for networking, and also for you to explain your research and get feedback, verbal feedback from the audience. And then it will be a challenge because now you have to talk in front of the audience and you have to be prepared to answer questions relating to your project. So going to conference has its own purpose, and I would encourage, if you are a PhD student, try to go at least to two conferences throughout your PhD and masters, at least once. And by attending the conference, you will be able to meet your potential external examiner. Maybe, I have met many. No, I'm the examiner. Some of the students, they approached me when I was drinking coffee and asked me whether probably I want you to become my external examiner. One of them is Dr. Jawaid, one of the top researchers now in UPM. I was his examiner. He worked with me after he graduated PhD from USM, and then we worked together and we have published very good papers. And most of my papers which have high citation are journals that I published with him. Okay? And we become good friends after that. And he approached me, I remember he approached me when I was drinking coffee during the tea break. So that's where you make the networking. So if you go to conference, make sure you talk to the professors who are the keynote speaker or plenary and make contact with them. And journals have its own purpose. So you must try to do both, conference and journal. And also you must approach your supervisor saying that you want to go to conference. And try allocate some money for me to go to conference. Answering the question. Okay.
What's the difference between the impact factor and Q of journal?
Impact factor and Q of journal is very much related. Normally, the higher the impact factor, the higher is the ranking. But also it depends on the journal category. In certain category, impact factor of 3 may be in Q2. But impact factor of 3 in another category is only Q4. Okay? Because social science journal, normally they have very low impact factor. Therefore, to be fair to them, now they use the ranking instead of merely the impact factor to take into account of the different categories: social science, engineering, chemical engineering. So the chemical engineering, they will only compete with the chemical engineering journal. So the ranking is based on that. The top 25% is in Q1, the second 25% is Q2, and then so on. Was application for associate professor, and then that person who wrote his CV, he said that he has 10 Q5. Q5. So I wondering what is this Q5, because I know that it is only a Q4 until Q4. So I made a comment. There. I said that I'm recommending this person for the post associate professor, but I was wondering what is this Q5 all about. And then last week I met one of his friends. He said that that person is now associate professor because maybe of my recommendation. But still, I don't know what is that. And then I began to think. Now I already got the answer. What's Q5? Now in Web of Science, there is one category called emerging something.
Emerging trend.
Emerging trend in our Web of Science. Okay, this emerging trend is already in Web of Science, but it doesn't have any impact factor, not considered to be impact factor. One of our Journal of Ibn Sina, Journal of Ibn Sina is not even a Scopus in that, but it is in the ESCI, I think. So I think what that person refers to Q5 is this sort of journal. Now I know the answer.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Bob. So I think we can close our session here. So again, I would like to congratulate, thank you all for attending this session of how to select appropriate journals and how to respond to reviewers' comments. And this program is organized by Perintis. Perintis is Persatuan Saintis Muslim Malaysia, Muslim Scientists Association of Malaysia. And under Perintis, we have this young professional. So Young Professional Perintis is a body that I would like to invite all of you, those who are academicians, students, and we would like to organize more lectures, more talks in the future. And this program is co-organized by Madani. Madani is an association in Japan. So together with us today is some of our friends from overseas who are also doing their postdoctoral studies. And they are also interested in knowing some of the tips and tricks on how to publish in journals and answering to reviewers' comments. And last but not least, our last organizer is UTM Excite. So today we are organizing our session here in UTM Excite. And unfortunately, we have two programs together. So I'm very sorry for the space issues. So luckily, we managed to invite all to enter, and I think we have a very good session today. And I think we have all the slides already distributed to all of you. So for those who have not yet registered, so please email us, and we will try to accommodate you or give you with the slides later on. So I'd like to thank you again, and later we can take one picture.
One picture from here.
One picture from here. Okay, before that, for a token of appreciation, so we have some basket of fruits. This is a basket of fruits. And also a special letter from the president of Perintis himself to Dr. Azman Hassan. So,
Thank you.
Good. Nak ada gambar from here.
Okay, so maybe somebody can
The crowd